and welcome to SuperKicking It With Kelsi. Today is another wrestling SuperKicking It shoot video, and I'd like to thank all of you who've sent your questions in. There were some really great questions. I was super impressed, and I really enjoyed reading all of your questions. Thank you so much for sending them in. And right now, I'm going to shoot straight from the hip, right to you. My next question is from Photobomber, and they have two questions. And their first question is my thoughts on the Mae Young Classic Tournament. And I'm excited about this because finally women are being respected in WWE. For a long time, as everyone knows, they weren't really taken seriously, and I think that's kind of lame. And I love how now the tides have changed. I really enjoy that it's a more serious thing. Although I read an article recently where Stephanie said there's no room for sexualization in WWE, and yet now they're pushing Lana as a wrestler and they're really being quite sexual about it. So I feel like that's kind of hypocritical, and I don't know. I think the whole Lana not being a manager anymore or a valet anymore for Rusev is kind of a mistake. She did so well in her original role, and then they kind of messed it up more and more along the way. So I wish we could kind of go back and see Lana in the suits and very serious and mean. I loved that version of Lana. But back to the point, the Mae Young Classic Tournament, I'm very excited about it. I just hope there's not going to be an oversaturation with all these tournaments, which then lead into standalone programs on the network. There's just so much WWE programming to watch. It's going to be hard with all these different things going on all at once to keep up. For anybody. I mean, I watch tons of wrestling, that's all I watch. But it's hard for even me. I've got like a job and other duties to keep up with it. But I must admit, I really should be more knowledgeable about independent women wrestlers because I really don't know a lot of them. I know one of my favorites is Candice LeRae. I've seen a lot of her PWG stuff, which I really love. And so if she's in the tournament, which I don't even know if she is, I'd love to see her do really well in it. And the second question they ask is, can Jinder be hindered? And I guess we've seen that he can't be hindered so far. So I'm going to say no, he can't be hindered. I'm not a huge fan of this whole thing because I think it's kind of a cheap way to get a demographic of people to watch. And yeah, you can argue he'll get legit heel heat, and he has already gotten legit heel heat, which is really good. We need good heels. But I don't know, he just doesn't excite me as a character, and that's my big problem with it. But I'm not going to speak too much on it because it could get better. It could really be a good thing. I don't know. I'd love to see it be a great thing. We'll just have to see, but I don't think it can be hindered. The next question I have is from Boiling Acid, and they ask, who is my early favorite to win the 2017 G1 Climax, in my opinion? Well, that's a hard question because there's so many great people on the New Japan roster, as I already said. There's Suzuki, who's a very unlikely person to win, but boy, would I love to see that. Especially if Omega wins in this rematch against Okada, and then maybe we'll see a Suzuki-Omega feud, and thus we'd see a Suzuki-Gun Bullet Club feud. Heck yeah, I want to see that really bad, but I don't really think he'd win the G1. If Omega wins in this upcoming rematch against Okada, I think Okada will be the one to win the G1. But there will be people to watch out for in the tournament as well. I think Cody Rhodes is going to have an awesome showing in the G1 because it's his first year, and I don't think he's going to win for sure. But I think he's going to have some good performances. People have been kind of disappointed so far in what he's done in terms of in-ring work, but I feel like he's going to step up for this tournament and show what he really can do. And either way, it's a really prestigious thing to be a part of, so I think he's going to step up to the plate. But like I said, I think it's going to be Okada because I see Omega winning at the rematch. That would be really fun. Or if Okada wins, I could see Omega being the first person, well, definitely the first Gaijin to ever win the G1 2 years in a row. So that'd be neat to see. We'll just have to wait and find out. I'm very excited to watch that, for sure. Great question. The next question comes from Lit Fire, and they ask, do you believe the small minority of people who say Bullet Club is stale and too large for its own good? And I quoted stale because they put it in quotes. I'm not putting it in quotes. But, no, I don't believe it, because I would have said yes to this question if they had added Marty Scurll and Adam Cole was still in the Bullet Club. That's an oversaturation of people in the Bullet Club. I know people who think that there's too many people, just like in the NWO, that they're adding too many people to Bullet Club. But really, New Japan is full of factions. You've got Chaos, Suzuki Gun, you've got Los Ingobernables, and you've got Bullet Club. Those are like the really big main ones. And it's just a thing in Japan, factions. And yeah, I think that Bullet Club's one of the bigger factions, but as long as they keep adding quality members like Marty Scurll, I'll be happy. And I like that they took away Adam Cole before adding Scurll, because if they would have had them both, as I said, I think that would have been kind of like a bad sign. Too many people. Now there are people in Bullet Club who I'm not a huge fan of, like Yujiro Takahashi. I'm not a huge fan of the Tokyo Pimp, not because of the gimmick, it's just because of his in-ring wrestling. I don't think it's the best. I don't think Bullet Club needed him, but you've got to have like the lower card Bullet Club members and then like the higher up ones like Omega, the Bucks, Marty Scurll now. Cody, I was really excited when Cody was first added, but, you know, if I see more great performances from him, then I'll think, yeah, it's great that he's in Bullet Club. But as of right now, I feel like Bullet Club, he's not really adding anything to Bullet Club. But his video package when they announced him being a part of Bullet Club was awesome, though. But no, I really like it overall. The next question is from Xbox One, and they say, who do you think is the most underrated wrestler in any company? And of course, like usual, it was hard for me to pick one, so I named a few. Cesaro for sure. Yeah, the audience appreciates him. A lot of people who like read stuff online, smarks, you could say, definitely love Cesaro. So he's not underrated in that way, but on the show, I think he's underrated. In WWE, he's underrated. Yeah, he gets a push every now and then, but not like the push he really deserves. Like, I feel like he could be champion material. I feel like he would have a really exciting reign, and I would love to see him with a belt. I really, really would, and I wish they would. I mean, although I love what he's doing with Sheamus right now, it would be great to see him have a singles run eventually. And hopefully, we're talking about not too far away. I don't want to be waiting years to see this. I'd love to see it sooner rather than later. A tag team I think is kind of underrated, War Machine. I love them. Although they are, you know, the IWGP tag champions right now, I think that overall a lot of people don't get too excited about them audience-wise, viewer-wise. I do. Man, these guys are big and they're agile. They really, really are agile. Another two New Japan people who I think are kind of underrated in terms of, not with the company, but more so with the general public. I feel like Suzuki doesn't get enough love. I love Suzuki. I'm a huge fan of him. I think he's a great heel. He's a scary looking dude. He really seems like a legit badass. Like he could mess you up, for sure. He's got an MMA background, so he could really, really, really hurt you for real. So I feel like people overall don't talk about him that much. I was so excited when he came back. I was like, oh my god, Suzuki. Not to mention he's an awesome theme song that I just love listening to. It's actually my alarm ringtone. Bryce KEK asks, favorite super heavyweight wrestler or wrestlers of all time? I.e. very tall or very fat. And this one was really easy for me because I've always been a Bam Bam Bigelow fan. As soon as I started liking wrestling, I would watch top superstar documentaries, and he was always on the list, him and Vader. And I really love Vader, but I would have to say Bam Bam kind of is a little step above for me because I love his look. I love his in-ring gear. I love his in-ring work. He's another really big guy, super agile, very fast, great worker, an interesting guy, very weird. And actually, I kind of wanted to show quickly a really cool article about him. And this is in WhatCulture.com Wrestling Magazine issue 2. And as you can see, the illustration, very well done, very beautiful looking Bam Bam Bigelow. and it's just this one spread right here, but I really enjoyed reading that. And Bam Bam has always been a favorite. In terms of tall people, I really love The Undertaker. He's super tall. I guess you could call him a super heavyweight. Life of Mayo asks, do I have a favorite Eddie Guerrero moment? Well, there's a lot of great Eddie Guerrero moments. There's the Halloween Havoc, his match against Rey Mysterio. That is really cool, and I love Halloween, so that was kind of neat. The whole pay-per-view is like a Halloween theme. I'm partial to that. It sucks that we lost him so soon. I would love to have seen more from him and to see what he could have done throughout the rest of his career.